If you are over 60 and struggling with poor circulation, you've likely spent years trying to solve the problem with pill after pill, supplement after supplement, recommendation after recommendation, and nothing has truly worked. And if we're being honest, most of the supplements marketed for better circulation were never going to help you in the first place. The supplement industry is overflowing with cheap formulas, low-dose blends, and worthless capsules that are designed more to fill shelves than to restore your blood flow. The truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Your body does not need 20 different vitamins to unlock better leg circulation. It doesn't need massive multivitamin tablets, exotic herbs from distant countries, or the latest miracle root extract promoted online. Your legs, right now, are begging for only 3 specific compounds, 3 vitamins with precise biochemical roles that directly target the root causes of circulation decline. Not 10, not 12, not 18. Just 3. These 3 vitamins repair the 3 core failures that collapse circulation after 60: stiff, inflexible blood vessels, narrow, constricted arteries, and sluggish, sticky blood that moves slowly and resists flow. Almost every leg problem, cold feet, numbness, tingling, heaviness, weakness, swelling, connects back to these 3 issues, all of which become drastically worse with age. And the reason you haven't fixed them yet is because nobody has ever explained the mechanism behind your circulation decline. Not your doctor. Not the supplement companies. Not the articles you've read online. Because to truly restore healthy blood flow to your legs, you need to understand what is actually happening inside your arteries every single day, and why the typical advice never touches the root cause. So let me give you the straight truth. Your circulation didn't deteriorate because your body is failing. It deteriorated because you are missing 3 critical nutrients that your vascular system depends on to stay young, open, and flexible. Without these nutrients, your arteries harden, calcium settles in the wrong places, your endothelial lining weakens, nitric oxide collapses, and blood becomes thick and resistant to flow. This isn't aging. This is deficiency, silent, slow, progressive deficiency. And once you restore these nutrients in the correct form and dosage, circulation can improve dramatically in weeks. That's why today I'm not giving you a list of 15 supplements or a complicated regimen of powders, pills, and drinks. I'm giving you the only 3 vitamins that matter. And I'm going to show you exactly what form to take, the precise dose you need, the timing of each one, why they work, and how they repair your circulation from the inside out. Because once you understand their mechanisms, you'll finally see why everything else you tried, ginkgo, omega-3s, multivitamins, garlic pills, magnesium blends, and all the rest, barely moved the needle. And let me tell you up front, the 3rd vitamin on this list is absolutely game-changing, but only if you take it at a very specific time of day. Miss that window, and you lose half its benefit. But before we dive into that, let's break down the real causes of poor leg circulation after 60, because most people misunderstand what poor circulation actually means. Poor circulation is not simply not enough blood reaching the feet. It's the result of 3 biological failures happening simultaneously. Number 1, vessel narrowing. As you age, the muscular walls of your arteries become less responsive. They lose their ability to relax on command. Instead of behaving like flexible rubber tubing, they begin acting like rigid plastic pipes. When the vessels cannot relax, blood cannot flow freely. This is why your feet feel cold. This is why your legs feel tight and heavy. Your blood is literally hitting a narrow passageway and struggling to pass through. Number 2, vessel hardening. While vessel narrowing happens because the muscles in the artery walls stop relaxing, vessel hardening is different. Hardening happens when calcium starts accumulating inside your vascular tissue. Your arteries gradually stiffen, lose elasticity, and become unable to expand under pressure. A young artery stretches like a balloon. An older, calcified artery behaves like a brittle straw. When the arteries lose elasticity, they cannot accommodate changes in blood pressure or blood volume, leading to reduced flow and increased strain on the heart. This stiffness also traps blood in the lower legs, making it hard to push back to the heart. Number 3. Thick, sluggish blood. Most people don't realize how dramatically blood viscosity changes with age. Thick blood moves slowly through narrow vessels. It also clings to the inner walls of your arteries, reducing flow even more. This viscosity is one of the key factors behind cold extremities, tingling sensations, and the heavy leg feeling so many seniors describe. These three failures, narrowing, hardening, and viscosity, in combination create the perfect storm for circulation decline. But here's the powerful part. Each one of these failures is directly addressed by one of the 3 vitamins I'm about to reveal. Vitamin number 1 widens the vessels. Vitamin number 2 restores their flexibility. Vitamin number 3 increases nitric oxide, your body's master signal for vessel relaxation. Together, they form the complete circulation repair system your legs need. So before we even begin breaking down the specific vitamins, I want you to understand something essential. Your circulation problems are not random. They are not inevitable. They are not irreversible. They are the result of specific biochemical processes that can be corrected deliberately and precisely. You just need the right nutrients in the right form. And now that we have established the foundation, let's start with vitamin number 1, the cleanup crew, the vitamin that widens your arteries, scrubs your vessels from the inside, thins your blood, and delivers the first immediate improvement in leg circulation many people feel within days. Niacin, vitamin B3. Niacin is the first vitamin on this list for a reason. Nothing else works as quickly or as directly to open up your blood vessels and improve leg circulation. When seniors tell me they feel heaviness, pressure, coldness, tingling, or the sense that their legs aren't getting enough blood, it almost always comes down to 2 problems happening simultaneously inside their vascular system: constricted, narrow vessels and thick, sluggish blood that simply refuses to flow efficiently. Niacin is the only vitamin that attacks both problems at once. But in order for niacin to work, you must take the correct form, at the correct dose, and understand exactly what the flush means. Most people get this wrong. Most supplements use the wrong type of niacin. Most multivitamins contain doses so tiny they might as well not exist at all. And most people never get to experience the powerful effect that therapeutic niacin has on circulation because they were told to avoid the flush, the very mechanism that makes niacin effective. Today, I'm correcting all of that. Niacin, vitamin B3, is your cleanup crew. It cleans the blood, expands the vessels, and restores flow through your legs with a speed that surprises most people. It is the foundation of this entire circulation protocol. But before I show you the form, dose, and timing, let's get something clear. Niacin's flush is not a side effect. It is the signal that niacin is doing the job you need it to do. When you take the flushing form of niacin, also called nicotinic acid, you trigger a temporary release of prostaglandins, natural signaling molecules that cause your blood vessels to widen dramatically. This widening is called vasodilation, and it is the exact opposite of the vessel tightening that plagues older adults. When your arteries dilate, blood surges into tiny capillaries that have been starved of flow for years. That's why your skin gets warm. That's why you feel a wave of heat moving across your face, neck, and chest. That's why some people feel tingling or redness. This is not dangerous. It is not harmful. It is not an allergic reaction. It is your circulation turning back on. It is your arteries waking up. It is your capillaries being flooded with blood after years of restricted flow. The flush is proof that niacin is widening your vascular pathways, something no low-dose multivitamin has ever done for you. So let's get into the practical details. The form you need is nicotinic acid, also known as flushing niacin. Do not buy flush-free niacin. Do not buy sustained-release niacin. Do not buy slow-release niacin. These forms either fail to trigger vasodilation, or worse, burden the liver with extended metabolism. What you want is simple, inexpensive, immediate-release flushing niacin. The dose matters, and it must be increased carefully. You start at 250 milligrams once daily, preferably with food to soften the intensity of the first few flushes. After about 2 weeks, once your body has adapted to the sensation, you can increase to 500 milligrams once daily, which is the sweet spot for circulation improvement in most adults. You should never increase beyond this without medical guidance, especially if you take medications or have liver concerns. Now, let's talk about what niacin actually does inside your body, beyond the warm flush that you feel on the surface. Niacin has 2 essential mechanisms for circulation, widening the vessels and thinning the blood. Mechanism 1, natural vasodilation. Niacin triggers your arteries to relax, but not just the large arteries, your tiniest capillaries benefit too. Many people over 60 have capillaries in the feet and lower legs that barely open anymore. Years of reduced nitric oxide, stress, inflammation, and inactivity cause microvessels to shrink and close. Niacin forces them open, temporarily at first, but with continued use, the capillaries regain responsiveness. That's why some seniors report that their feet finally feel warm again after years of coldness. Mechanism 2, reducing blood viscosity. As you age, your blood gradually becomes thicker. Higher fibrinogen levels, metabolic changes, dehydration, and lipid imbalances all contribute to a heavy, sticky blood consistency. Thick blood flows poorly through narrow arteries. Niacin helps modify lipid balance, reduce triglycerides, influence LDL particle size, and lower total viscosity. In simple terms, niacin helps your blood glide instead of drag. This is crucial for people who feel leg heaviness, the sensation of pressure behind the knees, or aching in the calves after standing or walking. Niacin improves both the pipes and the fluid inside them. That's why people often feel the difference very early. But let's go deeper into what the flush actually represents, because understanding this will help you commit to the protocol. When niacin enters your system, it binds to receptors on skin cells and immune cells, triggering a controlled release of vasodilatory compounds. This sudden release relaxes the smooth muscle tissue in your vessel walls. Picture millions of tiny muscles unclenching at once. Picture a congested 2-lane road suddenly expanding into 4 lanes. The same amount of blood now moves with more ease, more speed, more oxygen delivery. This is what your legs have been starved of. This is what most seniors desperately need. And here's what nobody tells you. The flush becomes significantly less intense over time because your vessels adapt. As your vascular system becomes healthier, niacin does not need to trigger such a dramatic response. It still works. It still widens the vessels. But your body performs the adjustment with greater efficiency and less surface sensation. That is why consistency matters. If you take niacin sporadically, your body never adapts, and the flush remains unpredictable. If you take it daily, your vascular system becomes more stable, flexible, and resilient. Now let's address the question many people ask, is the niacin flush dangerous? The answer is no. It is harmless. It is temporary. It typically peaks at 15 to 20 minutes and fades within 30 to 45 minutes. It does not damage the skin, does not stress the heart, and does not cause long-term irritation. In fact, research shows that people who experience the flush are more likely to achieve improved lipid profiles and corrected vascular responsiveness. The flush is a marker of therapeutic action. It is a sign that you are using the correct form of niacin at the correct dose. Now, for a brief but important caution, people with liver disease, diabetes, or specific medical conditions must consult a physician before using therapeutic niacin. Niacin, when used responsibly, is remarkably safe. But like any powerful compound, it deserves respect. For most seniors with poor circulation, niacin is not only safe, it is transformative. Let's also talk about timing. Niacin can be taken at any time of day, but taking it with food can reduce the flush intensity. Some people prefer taking it at night so the flush occurs while they are winding down. Others prefer mornings. What matters most is consistency, not the clock. Now let me tell you what most seniors report when niacin starts working. their legs feel lighter. Their feet are warmer. The pressure sensations soften. Walking becomes easier. The feeling of heavy, stagnant blood fades. Capillary response improves. Skin color looks healthier. And most importantly, they feel circulation returning to areas that had been deprived for years. Niacin is the first key. It widens the pathways. But widened pathways are not enough if your arteries have become stiff and calcified. That's where vitamin number 2 comes in, the flexibility fixer, vitamin K27 Malawian quatches, the compound that removes dangerous calcium from your artery walls and restores the youthful elasticity your blood vessels used to have. And now that we've widened the pipes and improved blood flow, it's time to make those arteries soft and flexible again. Now that we've widened your blood vessels with niacin and begun restoring the immediate flow your legs have been craving, we need to address the second major failure behind poor circulation after 60, the loss of vascular flexibility. This is where vitamin K27 Malawian quatches becomes absolutely essential. Most seniors, and frankly, most doctors, fail to understand how profoundly circulation depends on the softness, elasticity, and resilience of your arteries. Think of your vascular system as a network of millions of flexible hoses. In youth, these hoses bend, stretch, expand, and relax with every heartbeat. That subtle expansion allows blood to move smoothly, predictably, and efficiently. But as you age, something changes. Calcium begins accumulating in your artery walls. This process, called soft tissue calcification, gradually transforms flexible vessels into rigid tubes. And when your arteries become stiff, your circulation deteriorates in ways that no amount of blood thinning, no hydration, no exercise, and no niacin alone can fix. A stiff artery cannot expand. A stiff artery cannot adjust to pressure. A stiff artery cannot deliver blood efficiently to the lower legs, feet, and toes. So even if you widen your vessels with niacin, if the vessel walls themselves are turning into brittle plastic, you're only getting half the solution. Vitamin K27 Malawian quatches is the missing piece. It is the only nutrient your body uses to remove dangerous calcium deposits from soft tissues and redirect that calcium back into your bones, where it belongs. Without K2, calcium behaves like a confused traveler with no map. It wanders into your arteries, joints, kidneys, and muscles. This is why so many seniors struggle with arterial stiffness, kidney stones, joint calcification, and hardening of the vascular system. With K27 Malawian quatches, calcium finally gets its map and its traffic controller. It stops accumulating in the vessel walls and starts going back into bone tissue, restoring vascular elasticity and bone strength simultaneously. And now let's be very clear, this is not a minor detail. This is not a small part of circulation. This is one of the central mechanisms that determine whether your lower leg arteries are flexible highways of blood flow, or rigid, narrow, concrete tunnels that starve your feet. Vitamin K27 Malawian quatches gives your arteries their flexibility back, and without flexibility, circulation does not improve. Let's break this down in the precise, practical way you need to understand it. There are two types of vitamin K, K1 and K2. K1 is easy to get and is found in leafy greens. It helps with blood clotting. But it does not touch your arteries. K2 is completely different. K2 is the form that activates the proteins responsible for clearing calcium from the wrong places. And even within K2, there are multiple forms, 4 Malawian quatches, 7 Malawian quatches, and others. But 7 Malawian quatches is the key form because it stays in your bloodstream for many hours, providing a long, steady therapeutic effect. You must use vitamin K27 Malawian quatches. No substitute. No exceptions. That is the form that specifically targets arterial calcification. The dose that works for vascular flexibility is 100 to 300 micrograms per day, and because K2 is fat-soluble, you should take it with a meal that contains healthy fats, olive oil, eggs, avocado, salmon, nuts, etc. But the magic of K2 is not in the dosage. It is in its mechanism. When you take vitamin K27 Malawian quatches, you activate a protein called matrix GLA protein, or MGP. MGP is the single most important molecule in your body for preventing and reversing arterial calcification. Without K2, MGP stays inactive. It cannot bind calcium. It cannot remove deposits. It cannot protect your arteries. With K27 Malawian quatches, MGP becomes fully activated and acts like a microscopic vacuum cleaner. It pulls calcium out of your artery walls and transports it to your bones. Slowly, consistently, predictably. Think of your arteries right now. If you are over 60, they have calcium deposits is guaranteed. Even if you eat well. Even if you exercise. Even if your cholesterol levels look good on paper. Calcium accumulation happens silently, gradually, and universally with age. And the symptoms? Most seniors ignore them because they seem unrelated to calcification. Cold feet. Heavy legs. Pulsing or pressure sensations. Loss of circulation when sitting or lying down. Tightness in the calves. Reduced flexibility. Numbness in the toes. These symptoms often reflect arterial stiffness, not just narrowing. Stiff arteries do not expand or recoil. The heart pumps harder. The legs receive less oxygen. The feet struggle to warm themselves. Over time, this stiffness becomes one of the strongest predictors of poor circulation, high blood pressure, heart strain, and reduced mobility. K27 Malawian quatches directly attacks the root cause. No other vitamin does this. No multivitamin contains enough K2. No diet provides enough unless you eat large amounts of natto, the Japanese fermented soybean dish that most people cannot tolerate due to its strong smell and sticky texture. That's why supplementation is the only realistic path for most seniors. But the beauty of K27 Malawian quatches is that its benefits are silent. There is no flush. No heat wave. No tingling. It works in the background, day by day, removing calcium that has been building for decades. You may not feel K2 immediately, but the long-term results are dramatic: softer arteries, improved pressure regulation, easier blood flow, better walking endurance, and reduced leg fatigue. I have seen seniors who struggled to walk 2 blocks suddenly regain their stride once their arteries regained flexibility. And yet, this vitamin is rarely discussed in circulation protocols. Why? Because stiffness is invisible. Narrowing you can feel. Sluggish blood you can feel. But stiffness, unless you measure pulse wave velocity in a clinical setting, is silent. That's why so many seniors suffer from it unknowingly. That's why the second vitamin in this trio is absolutely non-negotiable. Now let's talk safety. Vitamin K27 Malawian quatches is extremely safe for most people. The only major caution is for people taking anticoagulants, blood thinners like warfarin. If you are on blood thinners, you must speak with your doctor before starting K2. Not because K2 is dangerous, but because it affects calcium regulation and may influence how your blood clotting system behaves. Your doctor may need to adjust your medication dosage. If you are not on blood thinners, K27 Malawian quatches is one of the safest and most beneficial vitamins you can add to your daily routine. Another important detail: K27 Malawian quatches is synergistic. It works beautifully with niacin and vitamin C. While niacin widens the vessels, K2 makes the vessels more elastic. While vitamin C increases nitric oxide, K2 ensures the vessels can respond to nitric oxide properly. Think of it like this: niacin opens the door. Vitamin C gives the command signal. K2 makes sure the door frame is flexible enough to open fully. Without K2, your vessels cannot open properly, even with perfect nitric oxide levels. Without K2, your vessels cannot respond to the widening effect of niacin. Without K2, calcium continues to accumulate silently, tightening your arteries little by little. This is why so many seniors try supplements but never get long-term results. They improve one piece of the puzzle but ignore the others. You cannot fix circulation halfway. You need the full strategy. One more important point, K27 Malawian Kwaches also strengthens your bones, which is crucial for seniors. When calcium is pulled out of the arteries, it is not discarded. It is delivered to the bones, improving density and reducing fracture risk. So this single vitamin protects your arteries and strengthens your skeleton simultaneously. Now let me describe what many seniors notice after 4 to 12 weeks of consistent K27 Malawian Kwaches use. They tell me their legs feel less tight. They feel less pressure around the knees and ankles. Their feet feel warmer for longer periods. They find it easier to climb stairs. They have more energy when walking. They feel steadier on their feet. Blood pressure becomes easier to manage. Circulation tests show smoother flow curves. These changes reflect improved vascular elasticity. When the vessels are soft, they adjust instantly to every heartbeat. They no longer resist pressure. They no longer trap blood in the lower legs. Blood moves freely again. And now that we've widened the arteries with niacin and softened the artery walls with K2, we are ready for the third vitamin, the one that controls the master chemical signal for vessel relaxation, the vitamin that determines whether your arteries open on command or stay locked shut. This final vitamin is vitamin C, and it is your key to restoring nitric oxide levels to youthful strength. Vitamin C is the third and final pillar of the circulation trinity, and in many ways, it is the one that transforms everything you achieved with the first two vitamins into real, visible, physical results. If niacin widens the vessels and K2 restores their flexibility, vitamin C is the compound that keeps those vessels functioning at peak performance by supplying the most powerful signaling molecule your vascular system depends on, nitric oxide. Without nitric oxide, even the cleanest, most flexible arteries cannot open on demand. They cannot respond to walking, standing, climbing stairs, temperature changes, or the daily circulation challenges that life after 60 forces on your legs. Nitric oxide is the master relaxer, the molecule responsible for telling your arteries, open now. When your body produces healthy amounts of nitric oxide, circulation feels effortless. Blood glides through your vessels. Your legs feel warm, awake, alive. When nitric oxide collapses, which happens naturally with age, your arteries remain partially clamped shut, even when your legs are begging for more oxygen. Vitamin C is one of the few nutrients that directly supports nitric oxide production and prevents its breakdown. This is why vitamin C is not optional, it is essential. And yet most people, including doctors, underestimate the impact high-dose vitamin C has on circulation, focusing instead on immunity. But vascular science tells a different story. Vitamin C is not just an immune vitamin. It is one of the primary initiators and protectors of nitric oxide signaling, acting at every stage of the process. And if you are over 60, your nitric oxide production has already dropped by 60 to 70%, meaning the single most important molecule for opening blood vessels is unavailable in the amounts your legs need to stay healthy. This is exactly why so many seniors feel their circulation collapse even when they eat well, walk daily, or follow medical advice. The signal to open the vessels is missing. Vitamin C restores that signal. To truly understand why vitamin C is so critical, you need to understand what nitric oxide actually does. Nitric oxide is a gas produced inside the endothelial cells, the delicate inner lining of your arteries and capillaries. These cells release nitric oxide as a response to stress, pressure, temperature, and physical activity. When nitric oxide diffuses into the surrounding smooth muscle, it triggers an immediate relaxation response. The artery widens, resistance drops, blood flow increases. This widening can occur in seconds. It is the difference between squeezing through a narrow hallway and walking through an open doorway. And here is the problem. Endothelial cells cannot produce nitric oxide efficiently without vitamin C, research shows that vitamin C increases nitric oxide bioavailability in two ways. First, it boosts nitric oxide synthesis by supporting endothelial nitric oxide synthase (ENOS), the enzyme responsible for producing NO. Second, it protects nitric oxide from oxidative destruction, extending its active life inside your bloodstream. Without vitamin C, nitric oxide vanishes almost as quickly as it is made. This is why people with low vitamin C levels often feel cold feet, poor circulation, slow wound healing, numbness, calf tightness, and early fatigue during walking. Their vessels simply aren't opening. Now that you understand the mechanism, let's talk about the form and dosage, because this is where most people make the biggest mistakes. Ordinary ascorbic acid, the cheapest form of vitamin C, is adequate for mild supplementation but completely insufficient when your vascular system requires therapeutic support. High-dose vitamin C is acidic, and for many people over 60, standard ascorbic acid irritates the stomach, causes reflux, or triggers digestive discomfort. That's why for circulation support, the correct forms are buffered vitamin C or liposomal vitamin C. Buffered vitamin C is ascorbic acid bound to minerals such as calcium, potassium, or magnesium. This reduces acidity, improves tolerance, and extends absorption. Liposomal vitamin C is encapsulated in microscopic fat bubbles, allowing it to bypass digestive limitations and enter the bloodstream far more efficiently. Studies show liposomal vitamin C can achieve blood concentrations unmatched by standard pills, making it the ideal choice for restoring nitric oxide function in seniors. The dose that actually works is between 1,000 milligrams and 2,000 milligrams per day, divided into 1 or 2 doses. Anything under 500 milligrams is maintenance, not therapeutic. Anything over 3,000 milligrams increases the risk of digestive issues unless specifically advised by a physician. The sweet spot is simple, 1,000 milligrams in the morning, and another 1,000 milligrams in early afternoon. But timing is not just important, it is everything. Now we arrive at the part most people never learn, including those who already take vitamin C daily. Vitamin C cannot be taken late in the day if your goal is vascular health. The timing determines the effect. When taken late, especially after 5 p.m., vitamin C can interfere with sleep, disrupt your natural nighttime restoration cycles, and, more importantly, reduce its daytime impact when your arteries need nitric oxide most. Circulation demands are highest during daylight hours, when you stand, walk, climb stairs, bend, stretch, carry groceries, or simply move through life. This is when nitric oxide must be at full capacity. Taking vitamin C in the evening means your bloodstream reaches its highest vitamin C levels at the wrong time, during sleep instead of during activity. So here is the non-negotiable rule: you must take vitamin C before 5 p.m., ideally at breakfast and early afternoon. If you take only 1 dose, take it in the morning. If you take 2, take the second around lunchtime. Let's now go a level deeper into why vitamin C changes everything for your circulation. First, vitamin C directly boosts nitric oxide by regenerating tetrahydrobiopterin, BH4, a critical cofactor for nitric oxide synthase. Without enough BH4, your body produces not nitric oxide but superoxide, a harmful free radical that damages the very vessels you're trying to protect. Vitamin C prevents this destructive biochemical misfire, ensuring your vessels receive true nitric oxide rather than oxidative stress. Second, vitamin C reduces endothelial inflammation, which is a leading cause of microvascular deterioration in seniors. Inflammation thickens the vessel walls, reduces flexibility, and diminishes nitric oxide response. Vitamin C acts almost like a fire extinguisher inside your arteries, calming inflammation so the vessels can open fully. Third, vitamin C strengthens collagen in the vascular walls. Your arteries are not simple tubes, they are structured scaffolds of collagen and elastin. When collagen weakens, arteries sag, lose tension, and collapse under pressure, impairing blood flow. Vitamin C is required for collagen formation. Without it, vessel integrity deteriorates. With it, vessels regain strength. Many seniors notice that after several weeks of consistent vitamin C supplementation, their legs feel structurally stronger, not just warmer. They report that their skin tone improves, their capillaries become less fragile, bruising reduces, and wounds heal faster. All of these improvements are direct outcomes of enhanced collagen production and improved microcirculation. Now let's address another overlooked factor, oxidative stress. Aging dramatically increases oxidative load inside the vascular system. Free radicals destroy nitric oxide and damage the endothelial lining. Vitamin C neutralizes these free radicals before they can harm your vessels. This is not theoretical, this is biochemistry. When nitric oxide molecules are destroyed by oxidative stress, blood vessels lose the ability to relax. Vitamin C preserves nitric oxide's lifespan. This is why many seniors notice that within days of taking high-dose vitamin C, their legs begin to warm up spontaneously. It's not magic, it's chemistry. More nitric oxide surviving longer means more vasodilation. But here's something few experts explain: nitric oxide signaling must be stable. A short burst of nitric oxide helps temporarily, but for circulation to truly improve, nitric oxide must be available consistently. Vitamin C ensures consistent availability by supporting endothelial health, collagen structure, oxidative defense, and nitric oxide synthesis simultaneously. This makes vitamin C uniquely powerful, not because of one effect, but because of many effects happening together. Now let's address the question everyone asks: how long does it take to feel results? With high-dose vitamin C, many people feel subtle changes within 72 hours. These may include slightly warmer feet, reduced tingling, reduced pins and needles, improved color in the toes, faster recovery after walking. By 2 weeks, most people notice more pronounced improvements: lighter legs, improved mobility, reduced calf tightness, less nighttime discomfort, and improved sensation in the lower extremities. And by 6 to 8 weeks, major structural improvements begin taking shape: better capillary function, stronger vessel walls, reduced inflammation, and enhanced nitric oxide signaling. Now let me explain something extremely important. Vitamin C does not work in isolation, it works synergistically with niacin and K2. Niacin opens the vessels short-term. K2 restores flexibility long-term. Vitamin C ensures those vessels stay open by activating nitric oxide continuously. This is what makes the three-vitamin system uniquely effective. Remove any one of the three, and the overall effect weakens dramatically. Together, they create a circulatory environment capable of true repair. Now let's talk safety. Vitamin C is generally safe for most people. The biggest mistakes people make are using low doses, choosing acidic forms, or taking it too late in the day. Buffered or liposomal forms eliminate digestive discomfort. Adequate hydration prevents the extremely rare risk of kidney stones. And proper timing ensures maximum vascular benefit. If you are on iron-enhancing medications, consult your doctor, because vitamin C increases iron absorption. If you have hemochromatosis, do not take high doses of vitamin C. But for the vast majority of seniors, high-dose vitamin C is one of the safest and most beneficial vitamins you can use. Now that we've completed the third pillar of the circulation trinity, niacin, K2, and vitamin C, you now have the complete internal blueprint for restoring circulation to your legs. But we are not done. The next block will pull everything together and show you how to implement the entire system step by step, with dosing schedules, timelines, expectations, and the exact mistakes you must avoid.